Welcome everyone. Today we will discuss taxes and imported materials and their impacts on unemployment and labor market. Now, we will start with taxes and wage setting, price setting model. Here we will start with the taxes on consumption. Now, consumption taxes would mean that the price received by the firm that we will call P is lower than the price paid by the consumer, which is including the tax. So if we denote PC for the prices paid by consumers and P as the price received by the firms, there is this addition, if you will, a percentage tax put by the government, TV. So let's say the prices were $5 with 5%, you're looking at $5 times 1 plus or 5% increase. So the prices paid are higher, but not all money is going to the firms. A part of it is sent to the government as taxes. Now, similar, the workers' take-home nominal wage, which we will call W, is the wage they receive after all labor taxes have been paid. So gross wage is going to be the wage cost for employer, which is higher, and the wage here times some social security contributions and income taxes are going to denote the wages. Now, if we introduce taxes into the wage setting, price setting model by writing both the wage and price setting curves in terms of real post-tax consumption wage, to do so, we will first use the real wage. So real wage now is going to use the prices paid by consumers, and the price setting curve will be different. In our model of price setting, the firms will set the price that receives P, if you will, as a markup on the wage that it pays. So the price setting curve is going to be the gross wage divided by prices, or the real wage, if you will, is going to be the share of wages workers are getting from the productivity of labor. So if we use the expressions that we have got here so far, then we will get the wage or real wage equation as follows. So we have the real wage equation is equal to a portion of labor productivity, but it's divided by taxes on consumption and taxes on income. This will become important, the taxes on both terms, because as long as these T constants are non-zero, as long as they are positive, then you will have the portion of real wage or portion of labor productivity captured by real wage. So workers is actually divided by some positive constant, so it's going to be less than the labor productivity. So the overall effect of taxes is to reduce the real output available to be shared between the firm and the worker from lambda to lambda divided by these two constants multiplication. And the firm and worker get shares sigma and 1 minus sigma respectively, and the rest of this lambda will go to the government. So what would it look like? Let's imagine we have the direct taxes given as 25% and consumption taxes are given as 20%. We said that the lambda here is the labor productivity, and if we multiply this with this constant here, so divide it with these two constants multiplication, since we have 1 plus TD here 25%, we have 1.25, and here 20% here for TV, so 1.20, which is 1.2 here. This multiplication gives us 2/3 of lambda. So this is the productivity of labor, what portion of that is shared between firms and workers. The rest goes to the government. So this is output net of taxes. And the government receives 1/3 because 2/3 is shared between workers and firms, 1/3 captured by the government. And if the profit share sigma is 40%, the wage share would be 60%, so they end up to 100%. So the price setting real wage is going to be here. So real wage is equal to 1 minus sigma times this leftover, if you will. So we have 60% of whatever's left from the labor productivity, and that's going to be corresponding to the wages earned by the workers. So here we have the wage setting curve, the price setting curve. Under normal circumstances, we have the intersection here, so it's employing 72 people. and corresponding to this, income level. So 40%. Of the total output is captured by workers. Again, under normal circumstances, we would assume the rest is left for the employers. But in this example, we have the government also taking a share as taxes. So here, this difference is going to be the profit share for the employers. Now, what's the effect of a tax increase? A larger tax taken by the government, either on labor or consumption, leaves less output per worker for real wages and profits to be shared between firms and workers. And since nothing has changed in the conditions of competition in the market for goods and services, the share sigma and 1 minus sigma are going to be unaffected. Notice again, we are assuming the profit share and labor share are determined by the level of competition in labor markets and the rest of the economy, the goods market. So as long as competition is the same, then we say that after tax distribution is going to be constant between firms and employees. So from this equation of PS curve, the price setting curve, higher taxation reduces the price setting real wage. So the price setting curve will shift down. And what will happen if the spending, after seeing this here, as you can see, the taxes are reducing the price setting curve, and we have lower employment and lower wages. Now, one may ask, so far we are assuming that the government collecting tax is really not doing anything with it. And what if we were to have spending on training is financed by these taxes? And we know that tax increases shifts the PS curve in the opposite direction, having the opposite effect. So the need to finance training through taxation will moderate the effects of the rise in productivity. So if we are able to increase productivity with these taxes, while also generating some tax revenue through these increased taxes, then we will have a moderate impact or reduced impact in overall employment and price setting curve, and the overall rise in wages and employment probably will be smaller. Now, imported materials are also an important part to discuss here. We can model the effect of a rise in energy prices as an increase in tau. So let's use tau to denote that. This will reduce the price setting real wage. The PS curve shifts down because firms will pass on the higher costs in the price to their products. So we will have again the real wage weighted, if you will, reduced by these increase in import prices. So if conditions for competition in their markets for goods and services are unchanged, as you can guess, this will mean that the sigma is not going to change. So firms will continue to get the markup of sigma, and an increase in the price of imported materials will leave the profit share unaffected. But notice this has to do with the shares, right? So the overall distribution is unchanged in this scenario because competition did not change, but the same amount of output per worker going to owners and more going to the foreigners supplying inputs. There is less for the real wage, right? So if we have a certain portion that we need to share with the goods that we import, then we will have less left for the workers. So an increase in energy prices will mean that real wages fall, as shown by a downward shift in the PS curve, and structural unemployment will unfortunately increase.